Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about the differences in the spray textures when you're using the bigger of the rigs. So I just wanted to compare this hopper with this hopper that goes to this bucket. Now, whether I'm using this plastic one that goes with the bucket there or I'm using this one, both of the setups require a compressor and a compressor hose and a compressor to push the air out. Now, if you have the bigger machine that I showed in another video that you can rent from Home Depot, that compressor is in there, but either of these, you still need a compressor. Now, the problem with these is that, well, this one in general is just heavy. It's got the metal gun, it has a big hopper. You pour about, I don't know, maybe a gallon and a half in here. And if you're spraying this all day, you know, it's not too bad if you have some patches if you're here, but if you're shooting up and you have, a lot of ceilings, it just wear and tear on your arm. It hurts. It starts hurting your shoulder, starts hurting your back. So that's why when I bought these, I rigged it so I can use just the regular little funnel and the plastic handle and put it on there. It's a lot smaller. It's easier to move around, easier to manage, and it's not so heavy even if I got to do ceilings, right? So these hoppers you can get anywhere. These are the hoppers. Right? You can pick those at Home Depot. I think they sell them between like 70 to 100 bucks. Harbor Freight has hoppers. I want to say as low as 25 bucks, maybe around 30, 40 bucks, something like that. But again, if you're using them for DIY repairs, you're trying to fix it up, save some money, that's not a bad deal, especially if you already have a compressor or you might want to buy a compressor and do for something else. If not, like I said, you can rent the stuff from Home Depot. The way that this one works is it comes with 4 different nozzles. They all have different sizes from bigger to smallest, and it literally just twists on. It literally just twists on, and you have your different orifice there, right? For these, you take your tip, you put it on, and then you screw the ring on, and that's what secures it in place. So what can you spray with these two rigs? Well, there's 4 main spray textures that are in most houses, and they're pretty easy to match once you figure it out. So they are acoustical, or what the people call popcorn, orange peel, splatter, and knockdown. So the popcorn sealing, I mean, most of the time, I've only done it for small repairs where somebody had a leak and they're not trying to remove it, so that is what it is. A lot of houses don't even have that anymore. So let's talk about the other 3. The orange peel is basically the least subtle, or the most subtle, I guess you say most subtle, of all the textures, because it's to appear like the outside of an orange, right? Orange peel. And so it's a real light texture. It's nothing too bad. A splatter is more, as I guess you can say, like rain falling, right? It's almost like raindrops. There's not really a pattern to it. It's just kind of an organized mess. And then knockdown is where you see those really big craters. It's kind of flat and you have a lot of gaps in between. And we're going to be shooting those on the walls behind us so that way you guys can get an idea of the difference. Now within those 4 textures, you have heavy, medium, and light. Okay, so on either one of them, whether you go with acoustic, orange peel, splatter, or knockdown, you can go really heavy, which was really popular like back in the 90s. It was really heavy texture. Was like, I mean, it just covered up all kinds of stuff on the drywall. And then a medium is kind of in between. It's not too light, it's not too heavy, obviously. And then when you went light, I mean, we were spraying like almost a mist. I mean, the mud was almost water. You crank up the compression all the way, and when you're spraying, it's almost just a mist that's giving it some kind of a real light texture on it. So those are your 4 things that you can do. The other one is a splatter drag. When I say splatter, so a knockdown is you're gonna spray it, you're gonna let it sit up for just a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, depending on your area. Then you're gonna come back with the knife flat and you're gonna knock down the nipples of it, right? The little high mountain ridges, you're gonna knock them down. Well, you can do the same thing with the splatter. You can leave it and it'll have just a little bit of maybe like a 3D look, if you will, or you can come back and knock it down. So when you're doing your own renovations, when you're doing your own additions, if you're the one who left it like this last, it's on you whether you want to spray texture or what kind of texture you want. Now if you're matching it, that's different. You got to see, Okay, well, which one is it? You know, because sometimes they can look similar. So which pattern is it? Okay, well, how heavy did they put it? Well, how much water do I need to put in the mud? What do I think I need to keep the spray at, the consistency of the air? And so there's a lot of things that you have to manipulate and try to get so you can get as close as possible when you're trying to match a repair. But it's free reign when you're shooting it yourself. So that's it, the two different kinds of rigs. That's gonna be way less expensive. If you already have a compressor, it could add up real quick if you have to buy the compressor and the hopper. So the better case might be buying the bigger one of this one. I'm sorry, not buying, renting the bigger one of this one to do your repairs and your renovations, depending on how big they are, right? So let's get to the next one.